Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back your lovely faces to a brand new video here on this channel. Today we're going to be talking about Danny Masterson, we're going to be talking a little quick snippet regarding Paul Haggis, the director, and we're also going to be talking about, which is the main thing of this video, the Supreme Court has denied Scientology, which is absolutely huge news. But before we do get into that, I do want to say just a huge thank you to today's sponsors, which is you guys, literally you guys. If you are not subscribed, hit that button. You know, we can get the video into YouTube. They can keep supporting me and supporting the channel, and we can get on our way to that big number before the end of, I want to say before the end of March next year, and that is, I want to reach 50,000 subs. So let's try and do it. But apart from that, guys, let's get into today's video. So, as you can see, the US Supreme Court has denied the petition by the Church of Scientology, which had asked the court to intervene in a California appeals court decision that restored a lawsuit filed against Scientology by Danny Masterson's accusers. The lawsuit was filed in August of 2019 by 4 women and one of their husbands, who alleged that since the women came forward with the allegations against Masterson to the LAPD, Scientology has surveilled and done this to them. 4 of the 5 plaintiffs are former Scientologists, and Scientology convinced the trial court that because the plaintiffs had signed service contracts as members, they were obliged not to sue the church and to take any grievances to religious arbitration, which that still blows my mind that that's what they signed. And it's like, well, why are you signing it? And again, these are like billion-year contracts, which is just, you know? A California appeals court in January overturned that ruling, reasoning that the harm alleged by these plaintiffs, stalking, hacking of their phones, and even getting rid of their pets, which we saw as well, which we covered up before, had occurred after they had left Scientology. So this was not an I do apologize, matter that called for internal arbitration, the court ruled. California Supreme Court signed off on that decision, so Scientology then turned to the US Supreme Court, filing a petition in July asking the court to grant a writ of this and take up the case. I did try pronouncing that word earlier, and it's like 2 or 3 different ways, and I don't want to mess it up even more, because sometimes to me that's just like, what? But it basically means just so a higher court can look at the lower court and grant the decision. That's what that means. Previously, we described that in this petition, Scientology didn't mention that the appeals court was mainly concerned about the allegations of harm occurring after the plaintiffs had left, and instead claimed that its contracts not applying to ex-members was a violation of Scientology's religious rights. But the changes of the court getting involved were small because of the number of petitions that are filed. Last week, the court held a conference to sift through the petitions that had come in over the summer, and this morning put out a list of those that it was not going to consider. Scientology's petition was amongst those listed. With the Supreme Court petition out of the way, the civil lawsuit will still be on hold as Danny Masterson's criminal trial is about to start in LA on October the 11th. That's next week. He's facing 45 years to life in prison if he is convicted of doing this to the women who are suing him. The trial is expected to last several weeks. When the civil case does resume, Scientology has already indicated that it will file anti-slap motions as its next step, once again keeping the case from progressing to discovery. Now, with this, obviously a lot, and I mean a lot of churches, doesn't matter what kind of church they are, you know, it can be, say, Catholic, it can be Scientology, it can be all of these, and the way it goes around is that these places can't get away with doing this sort of thing. You know, they just can't. You see certain things on the news where it could say about priests or whatever, you know, or archbishops, and they go, you know, and all these things are happening, people look after them, and it's almost like well, it is actually the film Spotlight, which is a brilliant movie, and that is regarding the Boston Globe and what they did with the Catholic Church in Boston. And it's absolutely scary that because of what they were doing, the church knew they would just ship them off to another church somewhere. And they were just trying to die down the pressure and get rid of the news. This is what Scientology is doing. Because as you've seen, many videos now regarding this on the channel, and also, like I said, in the previous videos, I get this information from Tony Ortega's website, Underground Bunker, which I will leave the link below, but it is tonyortega.org. And it's crazy to see that Scientology is basically letting, if you're a member and you do something horrible, tell us, and we'll just make it go away. That is crazy. It's also illegal and mind-blowing that the church allows these people to get away with it. They know what type of people they are. And it's like, oh, you've done this crime, you've done that crime. Oh, don't worry, because you're paying us millions a year, or however much or whatever level you are, then okay then, you're fine, we'll look after you. But there is one thing regarding all of this that it just keeps popping up in my mind as well as a few things. Do the people who pay less money than the movie stars or TV actors or whatever, do they get the same kind of help from Scientology as like Danny Masterson or whatever? Or Tom Cruise? Well, Tom Cruise is literally protected by no matter what. If Tom Cruise went out and deleted someone from the earth, they would try and just literally get rid of it. They would probably throw millions and millions of dollars, oh, you are, take this judge and just stop it. That's probably what would happen. But I want to know, the ordinary person, growing up in Scientology, he was on Legal Bites the other day with Elite, and that was just absolutely amazing. And if you're not famous in Scientology, would they still have your back like this? I suppose they probably would have your back up until a certain point. And that certain point to me is probably thinking if the church would have to give over any info regarding their religious practices. That's the only part of a non-famous person that I can see them stepping in to help, because they would be like, oh no, you're not going to have any of our scrolls and all this kind of shite. But we obviously with Danny Masterson, John Travolta, and all these other people who are famous. Perfect example is look what they did to Renee when she left. Oh, Leah Remini, and they attacked us so much. They still do to this day. Even the people who were left there, to the ones who were quite high, powerful ranks when they were in Scientology, they just get hounded by their squirrel squad or squirrel busters or whatever. And it's really funny to see that they're the ones who are going out there and they're trying to find these people who are ex-Scientologists, and they're like, no one cares about you, no one even knows you're gone, no one cares, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just seeing all of this, and I'm just like, if you're saying that, then why are you there? Why do you care? Obviously you do, because you're screaming and shouting at this person in public. It just goes to show how much of a cult Scientology really is. It's not a religion, and it's just sad to see that, the US, again, the US government probably gets money from them anyway, but it's like, come on. People can see what they're doing. But it's just absolutely nuts to me. But again, no, I'm kind of sane. People in Scientology don't seem to be sane, which is kind of sad. But again, no, if you're born into it, that's all you know. But that's what we got for this one, guys. And say Scientology, the Danny Masterson case does go next week, which we will be obviously keeping an eye on and everything else. It's going to be just nuts, that is. I can see it happening. If we can find streams, because they may show clips here and there, I will be keeping the channel updated every single day of it. You also got Paul Haggis as well. He's going to be in court as well on the same day at a different court with Scientology, because he's allowed to accuse Scientology of the R word, which is absolutely insane. And it's going to be an explosive couple of weeks for Scientology. It really is. So if you are new to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Let's try and get the channel to 50,000 subscribers, and I'll see you all very soon.